The next segment of public comment is regarding the book Push, and this segment is much shorter than the other segment. They had a bunch of people speaking for the Bluest Eye. They only had a couple people speaking for Push, so here we go.
I'm here tonight because banning books is one of the most insane things that this district could do. When we remove books from shelves, especially books that deal honestly with trauma, identity, and survival, we are not protecting students. We are abandoning them. I'm talking about the book Push by Sapphire. Yes, it does contain graphic scenes, but we need to be honest about why. The story follows a teenager who is being groomed and sexually assaulted by her own parents. These scenes are not written for shock value. They're written to help readers understand the reality of grooming, how manipulation works, and how abuse can be recognized. For some students, a book like Push may be the first time they see their own experiences reflected, validated, and named. And in this district, with our history, where students have been harmed by adults who were supposed to protect them, you would think that we would want more resources, not fewer, Candy. Thank you.
So the first person to speak about the book Push is Trisha Keeling. She has spoken before, and I've commented on what she had to say. She is defending the book. The book Push was written by a woman calling herself Sapphire. That's a stripper name if I ever heard of one. Her real name is Ramona Lofton. Anyway, she takes a shot at Candy Olson and says that Candy Olson is responsible for the school district not getting the resources that it needs, and even advocating for less resources instead of more. So she takes a shot at Candy Olson. So anyway, the school board found the book Push to be even worse than the book The Bluest Eye because they removed Push from the library, the school libraries. They restricted The Bluest Eye, but yeah.
My name is Tessa Lynn Hodge, LCSW. I am not only a therapist, but I have worked in child welfare with victims of sexual abuse and commercially sexually exploited children. In the field of social work, there is an ongoing conversation of how to build resilience in those who have experienced abuse, neglect, and trauma. I myself am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse and neglect, and as a child, I found solace, comfort, and escape in books during some of the hardest times in my life. I credit my own resilience to reading stories that mirrored my own and showed that I could overcome and be successful just like the characters in the books, just like Precious in the book Push. The material in books like Push are not sexually explicit. They are depictions of abuse that I, as a mental health therapist, have helped far too many real clients, including children, to process.
Next person to speak about the book Push is Tessa Lynn Hodge. She has also spoken before, and I've commented on what she has to say. She says that she's a clinical social worker and a mental health care expert, and she says that books like Push and The Bluest Eye help kids who have been sexually abused build resilience, and that she also claims she was a victim of child sexual abuse, and that reading books like Push helped her recover because she found herself, she says, in books that were similar to her situation. She also takes a pot shot at Jeanette Wilson, who also is in social work, and says that Jeanette Wilson is a stain on the profession. So these people are just, they're disgusting.
I read Push before it was challenged the first time, and it was a stark reminder that there are children in this country who are victims of unspeakable acts of cruelty, abuse, violence, and sexual assault, and that sadly, that abuse too often happens in the child's home. However, this book is also a reminder of the power of education because Precious is an illiterate teenager, and by the end of the book, she is reading, she is writing, she is journaling, she is processing. It's also a reminder of the importance of having supportive adults in your life who believe in you. Any book could be on the agenda tonight, and I would be here to speak in the same way, because all books are important and they have value. Please don't take that.
Okay, so the next person to speak, I don't know their name, and the camera never shows their face, but they are in support of the book Push, and they say that they read it before it was challenged, and that it made them realize just how much of a problem child sexual abuse is, and that most sexual abuse occurs in the at home, like it's done by the parents or other family members, siblings possibly, or extended relatives, etc. She defends the book Push because the main character Precious starts out illiterate, and towards the end she knows how to read, write, and she's journaling what her experiences. She's processing, etc. And that's why she's defending the book Push. The fact of the matter is that there is no happy ending for Precious, because Precious gets HIV and dies. I looked it up. Also, she claims that any book could be on the agenda, and any book could be on the agenda to be removed from school libraries. And she claims that she would oppose that no matter what the book is, or who the author is, because all books are important and they matter. And somehow I doubt that, because people like her are trying to get J.K. Rowling and her books, the Harry Potter series, canceled, because J.K. Rowling is against transgenderism, or at least is against calling men who transition and become female. She's against calling trans women women, and she insists that trans women are actually men in disguise. And so, like, people like this woman, people like the members of Together for Redlands, are advocating canceling J.K. Rowling because of that. And she used to be their hero, because she is liberal, and she made Albus Dumbledore gay. At the end of the series, Albus Dumbledore makes a low-key confession. He confesses to being in love with Grindelwald when he was a student in high school and at Hogwarts. So, yeah, I doubt that she would defend any book if it was on the list of on the school board's agenda to possibly be banned. I doubt that.
If I'm emotional, it's because I've been hearing everybody's stories and it's affecting me, so I apologize. And something important to remember is that the committee has already recommended to keep these in libraries, not with unrestricted access. That does not mean kids are going to come into the library and every kid's going to be handed a copy of these books. Parents have to mark that it is acceptable for their child to check out this material. Sapphire's Push addresses harsh realities like trauma and assault that many of our students do in fact face. It is not pornographic, but essential for building empathy and critical thinking, a necessary component of rigorous academics. Removing titles like this undermines our commitment to equity, as the library is the only access for some of our students. Please represent the families of our students that we serve and trust the judgment of our professional educators that have already checked out this.
Person to speak is Janine Elias. She has also spoken before, and I've talked about what she said. Anyway, she is defending the book Push. She claims that because the book review committee already reviewed it and said that it was suitable for staying in the school libraries, that the school board should abide by the recommendation. And she also claims that a book like Push is essential to helping students build empathy for other people who are going through traumatic situations. And we can help students do that by, like, I don't know, reading about actual events that are similar to this, but, aren't written from the point of view of the abusers and stuff like that. Because these books, a lot of the narrative is actually from the point of view of the abusers. The Bluest Eye, a lot of it is from the point of view of Pacola Breedlove's father, and also from a priest who abuses little girls. And Push, it's the same way. Push is also, some of it is from the point of view of, like, Precious's parents as they abuse her and what they do. So, yeah. We can help students build empathy by talking about real life situations and not exposing them to sexually explicit pornographic content like this.
When you label this book as pornography, you minimize the profound realities of sexual assault and child abuse, and you shame survivors. This is victim blaming. When you argue that book makes students more susceptible to sexual assault, you're blaming victims' behavior for assault. This book is difficult to read, and it may not be for everyone, but high school students can make that choice. It also carries a strong and positive message about learning, resilience, and achievement. If you dismiss all that and focus only on its sexual content, I believe you have serious issues of sexual fixation. If my teenage child experienced arousal from reading this book, I will contact the psychiatrist.
Next speaker is Erica Grossman. She has also spoken before, and I've talked about her comments. And once again, she reiterates her previous statement that if anybody who objects to these books, anybody who objects to Push based on its sexual content, she claims is sexually degenerate themselves and has serious issues. She also claims that wanting to remove these books from school libraries means that we're blaming the victims of these situations, and that is a ridiculous claim to make. Wanting to remove these books so that minors, grade school students can't read them is not victim blaming. We can be supportive of actual victims of sexual abuse without putting content like this into students' hands.
I'm a Redlands resident, mom to a Cope and Redlands High School student. I am here instead of at the school play where my daughter has a main role. Sexual explicit content is a problem for kids on phones. Visual acts of sexual activity can harm kids, which is the exact study Candy Olson read aloud in a previous meeting. You were talking about porn, okay? Not written material in literary books. Books do not harm kids. Books make difficult subjects a point of discussion, which you as a parent can have with your kid. Banning books does not make terrible abuse in the real world go away.
Next is Aya, followed by Catherine Appleby and Jermaine Miles.
Seats.
The next person to speak is named Suhidi, and she has also spoken before. And I've already talked about her comments from the book The Bluest Eye. And once again, she makes the case that because children can access explicit sexual material through their phones, their tablets, their computers, through the television, because they can do that the school board shouldn't ban books like The Bluest Eye and Push, which have material like that in them. Just because students can access this material on their own when they're not at school doesn't mean that the school board shouldn't control what material they can access while at school. And so she makes that case. She also says that removing these books won't stop actual sexual predators from committing actual sexual abuse. And in that sense, she's right. It won't. But we don't need to encourage students to read books like this. We can talk about this with them. We can talk about real life situations, but we don't need to encourage them to read books like this. This is the end of public comment for the book Push. this segment of public comment was shorter than the last one, and it's a lot shorter than the other two, which I'm going to do. So this was the shortest section of public comment, so I'm done with it.